3/8 subtract 5/8? Well, I can add or subtract fractions that have the same denominator. So I'm going to write this as 3 subtract 5 over 8. So when I add or subtract fractions that have the same denominator, I keep that denominator and simply add or subtract the numerators. Now, 3 plus negative 5, remember I think in terms of addition, 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2 divided by 8. Now I'll reduce to lowest terms by dividing the numerator and denominator by 2. So I end up with 1/4, and then a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So the answer to that problem is negative 1/4. 3/8 subtract 5/8 is negative 1/4. And I notice, first of all, that the denominators are the same, so I simply subtract numerators, put the result over the common denominator, then reduce to lowest terms if I need to. Let's try another one. Here I have 4/9 plus 1/3. They both have to have the same denominator in order for me to add them. So what I'm going to do is multiply this denominator by 3 so that it will become 9. If I do that to the denominator in this fraction, I need to do the same thing to the numerator. So I multiply numerator and denominator by 3. Notice that I've simply multiplied by the number 1, so I know I haven't changed the value of this fraction. Now I'll rewrite here as 4/9 plus 3/9. 4/9 plus 3/9, 7/8, yeah. 7/9. So I simply notice that they have the same denominator. I add numerators. 4 and 3 is 7. I put that over the common denominator, 9. I almost said 8 because I think I was counting 7, 8, 9. Who knows? Let's look at another problem, a little bit more complicated. Have 5/12 minus negative 3/8. I'm going to rewrite this as 5/12 plus 3/8 to begin with, because I know that subtracting a negative number is the same as adding its opposite. Now I see that I have denominators of 12 and 8, so I'm going to build a least common denominator over here by factoring 12. Okay, 12 factors into 2 times 2 times 3. So let's actually rewrite that fraction as 5/2 times 2 times 3. And then I'm going to factor this denominator 2, and that factors into 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so I want to build my least common denominator from these factors. So my least common denominator, in order that 12 divided, has to have factors of 2, 2, and 3. So there they are, 2, 2, and 3. My least common denominator needs to have factors of 2, 2, and 2 in order that 8 divided. So I see I have 2 factors of 2 here. I need one more factor of 2, so I'm going to put that in. So that tells me that my least common denominator then is 2 times 2 times 3 times 2, or 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 3 is 24. So that means that I'm going to have to multiply this fraction right here by 2 over 2, and this fraction here by 3 over 3, in order that both of these fractions have the same denominator. So here's the factors I have for this denominator, 2 times 2 times 3. Here's my least common denominator. I compare the factors here with the factors here. Any factors that are missing, I need to multiply by. So if I multiply this denominator by 2, I need to do the same thing to the numerator. Same goes over here. I look at these factors. I compare them with the factors in the least common denominator. I see that there's a 3 missing. I multiply by 3, so this denominator has all the same factors as this one. And then if I do that to this denominator, I need to do the same thing to this numerator. That gives me equivalent fractions of, let's see, 2 times 5 is 10, divided by, I know that this is 24, plus 3 times 3 is 9, divided by, I know that this is 24. Now, 10 plus 9 is 19, divided by 24. That doesn't reduce any farther than that. 19 over 24 is in lowest terms. So, to add fractions, what I do is build the least common denominator, find the least common denominator, the smallest number that's divisible by each of these denominators. Then I multiply by the appropriate factors so that each of the denominators has this denominator right here. Now I'm changing to equivalent fractions, that's these. So I do that with multiplication. Once I have the equivalent fractions, they'll have the same denominator right here. I can simply add numerators, put the result over that common denominator. So a quick review of adding fractions.